Hello, YouTube. Thank you for tuning into my channel. Thank you for all the new subscribers I've been getting lately. When I first started this channel, it was mostly about magic found in the Bible. And I was using the Bible to show where pagan practices were adapted into the early Israelite faith. Matter of fact, I'm in the process of making a video about the pagan origins of Yahweh. So stay tuned for that one. Right now, I'm trying to make good on some promises, such as doing some videos on Christian witchcraft. However, this video, we're going to be focusing on the mental gymnastics of biblical prophecy. Excuse me. Are you okay? Me? Got my little girls with me, my two dogs. I'll just choke on some. Okay, anyway, she's good. She's good. Okay, now, the mental gymnastics of biblical prophecy. I could literally pretty much close my eyes and point somewhere in the Bible where a Christian fundamentalist, or I'm not going to use that word for this video, I'm going to say apologist. An apologist is a Christian concept of defending the faith because it needs to be defended because there's some very questionable things, so things need to be rationalized away. Now, one of this is prophecy. Don't get me wrong, folks. I do believe in predictions. I mean, I do practice divination. However, I also understand the further you go into the distant future, the less accurate these predictions become for various reasons. I will probably do a video on the metaphysical science of prediction. My channel is also probably going to lean towards metaphysical science. Because a lot of people know what they believe in, but they don't necessarily know how or why it works or would be true. So that's a good point. Call that pagan apologetics. Okay. Here we go. What is a prophecy? Well, obviously it's predicting something, but the problem with biblical prophecy and other similar prophecy, and I'm sorry, this does have to include other religions that use prophecy, including, not naming any because we're focusing on Christianity, but there's some pagan prophecies that fall underneath the same umbrella of what I'm about to say. They reside in a little place in a form of logic that is unfalsifiable. What does unfalsifiable mean? Unfalsifiable means something that cannot be disproven or proven using conventional means. Therefore, you could basically stay in that little gray area and claim you've never been disproven. Okay, I'll give you an example with a thought experiment. Atheists like to joke around with the spaghetti monster. Let's start with that. The flying spaghetti monster. I am his prophet, Azrael. And in a vision, I received a message from the flying spaghetti monster that one day mankind will live on the moon. I have no date. I have some vague signs. Now, consequently, these signs that will be given are things that will repeat itself through history. Let's put a pin on that real quick. A little metaphysical pin. Okay. Now, Jesus said when his coming was at hand, the moon would turn to blood and the sun would go black, right? So it's easy to think, lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, and those blood moons that we've been having for the past couple of years, way back. Now, what happened with those blood moons, which a lot of pagans don't know because they don't study about the Bible or Jewish culture, or Christian prophecy for that matter. Those blood moons, a year back or so, almost all of them landed on a Jewish high holiday. That's fucking powerful if you're doing Christian astrology. All right? A blood moon on Yom Kippur, right? Wow. The Feast of Trumpets? Really? Too much of a coincidence. So many Christians actually predicted that God was going to come back, or Jesus was going to come back then, because the moon turned into blood, and then repeated after that. So the next year or so, we had a solar eclipse. It fit perfect. As we still hear, I am here blaspheming Jesus. Nobody floated into heaven in a rapture. Okay, so I'm making fun of their religion because I'm not making fun of the religion because Christianity can be a valid religion. I do respect it, believe it or not, even though my followers on Facebook will doubt that. But I do respect it because it can be. But it's just conservatism. That's a different video. Just get back to the topic. Okay, so in this thought experiment, we're going to be living on the moon. I give no dates, but I give vague signs about what's happening. Matter of fact, signs that will happen. Kind of like Jesus saying, there will be rumors of wars and there will be wars. Name one fucking month, one day, brother. Name one fucking day, one day that there hasn't been some nation fighting with another nation, or at least talking about kicking some other nation's ass. You're not going to find it. Which is one reason why, that fits into another biblical Christian prophecy about a new world order. All in order to stop people from fighting, why don't we just all become one government? Another video, I promise. Anyway. See what I'm saying here? So I say, well, people will start space travel when they live on the moon. Well, not fucking shit. If people live on the moon, obviously the first thing you want to have is people flying around in space. Right now, we have people living in space on this floating, gigantic international space system. Shuttle. Sorry, that's not a hoax that NASA put together. No, there is. You can actually see it with a telescope, believe it or not. People are living in space right now. Not a lot of people, but there's people living in space right now on a space station. That's got to happen first. Well, that part of my prophecies already, you see where I'm going with this? It's already been given. So, now let's say there's only 3 types of followers, obviously. People who believe I'm a prophet of this spaghetti monster. People who criticize me because they don't believe me. And people who are undecided. Well, first of all, the people who are undecided are perhaps one of the most dangerous people because they don't want to rule things out. They want to be compassionate to other people's beliefs on average. Therefore, they will tend to let some religious fuckery run amok for the sake of maybe. That's not everybody who's undecided. I'm just saying that's a big part of it. And every person who excuses a person who making a claim and telling somebody else, well, that they need to believe in it, well, that they're helping out that they're part of the problem because they're trying to be too open-minded. If your mind is too open, your brain falls out. I'm sorry. It's important to have an open mind. Definitely is. But being too broad, different video. Again, I'm ranting. So here we go. Those 3 people. The people who follow me will say, if we never lived on the moon, well, I'm sorry, let's say, if one day we do live on the moon, they're like, see, the prophecy is fulfilled. And then part of my followers will try to make sure that they educate their ass and learn about space travel to put us on the moon to fulfill this prophecy for me on my behalf or in the name of the flying spaghetti monster. Self-fulfilling prophecies is a part of the loophole. Okay, now, just like Jesus riding in on a donkey or a horse, depending on which version you want to go by, which contradicts, but gets around it by saying, oh, it's a different version, it must have been both. Which is part of the rationalization of prophecy. You see, if something don't fit, will move the goalpost, which is a logical fallacy, to make sure it fits. So, confirmation bias, self-fulfilling prophecies, or moving the goalpost are two, well, self-fulfilling prophecies are part of the moving the goalpost. It's or claiming natural phenomena. So we have those two right there, right? But of course, also I didn't give a date, so it cannot expire. So 5,000 years from now, if we don't live on the moon, my followers will say it's not ready for the prophecy. So if it happens, I'm a prophet. If it doesn't happen, I'm still a prophet and cannot be proven wrong. And then, let's say, different scenario says, okay, scientists for some reason say we can live on the moon. As our knowledge about the moon expands and life in a biosphere, expands or fails, they say, no, it's not possible at this time, then they will probably turn around and say, because of our wickedness, the world's hatred for the flying spaghetti monster, or the other people who believe in the spaghetti monster but don't interpret him with Parmesan cheese, the correct way to worship, which is, by the way, another logical fallacy called the No True Scotsman. I'll have a different video on that too. But in any case, it doesn't matter if it happens or it doesn't, because the true believers will always find a way to justify why it happened or it did not happen. That's the problem with biblical prophecies. It don't give a date, and at best, it gives a kind of, here's what's going to happen when this happens. But oh, by the way, those things happen all the time, so you're constantly guessing. But there's certain prophecies in the Bible that are 100% proven not to have happened and cannot or no longer happen. These are found in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel is a book of prophecy, but however, two of my favorite ones in there is that one, Ezekiel foretold that Egypt would be a barren wasteland. Now, some of these people say, well, see, Egypt is gone. The ruling body of Egypt has been disintegrated thousands of years ago, so therefore prophecy fulfilled. Nope, can't say that, because part of that prophecy is that the Nile River, the reason why Egypt was going to be a barren wasteland was not because the government was gone. It was gone because the Nile River would dry up. It's still flowing, guys. 3,000 years later from Ezekiel, or 2,500, whatever, it's still flowing. The time span is gone. The government that Ezekiel was prophesying against has long been gone, but the river still flows. It's still a tourist attraction. It is flourishing by many modern standards. I'm sorry to say, not sorry to say, sorry, but you don't get to claim, well, the prophecy began 2,000 years ago, and now we're just waiting for the river to dry up. Sorry. It gave a sign that it would happen, and it did not happen. Therefore, this one, even though there's no date given, has been debunked. Okay, part of another Ezekiel prophecy, or a guy that whoever wrote the book of Ezekiel claiming to be the prophet, also prophesied that the city of Tyrus would be destroyed utterly and no longer be rebuilt. Now, this is obviously because whoever was thinking that they are going to make a prophecy, either Ezekiel or somebody else, understood the political atmosphere at the time and understood that Babylon, a superpower, would easily wipe out a city. So, of course, he made a safe prediction, which didn't happen either. Sorry, guys, it didn't happen. So what happened was Nebuchadnezzar, because the guy's named, there's so much detail on this one, Nebuchadnezzar would lay siege and destroy Tyrus. He didn't. Nebuchadnezzar came. Tyrus realized that they were no match and did not fight back and said, okay, yeah, we will accept you as new king. So the city remained standing. Conquered not by war, by the threat of war. But the Tyrus still stood. So a lot of Christians say, well, this happened after the battle of when Alexandria, 200 and something years later, came the Alexander, the emperor, took Tyrus by military force. Sorry, guys. First of all, Alexandra is not a name synonymous with Nebuchadnezzar. Can't tie those two together. Also, by the way, he didn't destroy Tyrus. Therefore, still no prophecy fulfilled because it was supposed to be destroyed and utterly destroyed, and it would never be rebuilt. First, let's go ahead and get this clear. It didn't rebuild. It was constantly building itself up. The city of Tyre, or Tyre, depending on pronunciation, I'm not very good at that, but it's there. It's been there, guys. It's still there now. Matter of fact, they are a booming fucking city. Have skyscrapers, bridges, people drive around in cars, and so forth. It is a very modern place. It still exists. It still exists. Thousands of years later, it still exists. People living there, never been destroyed, never rebuilt. Still goes by a different pronunciation of the same name. Biblical prophecy disproven right there. But of course, people are still waiting for it to be destroyed, thinking that it's going to be fulfilled because there's no date. But because they gave so much detail and gave the name of the person who's supposed to destroy it, and that didn't happen, and there's no other Nebuchadnezzar anywhere, disproven. Okay, so this isn't a demonstration on the problem with prophecy, not just biblical, but we're focusing on this biblical prophecy that has failed miserably. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.